Yeah, and I think that we tie it back a little bit to the explicit notion of I have a filter that I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen a lot of businesses, and there are certain things that I probably can't articulate, but when I see them, they either get me excited or get me turned off, and I think that's the art part. And I don't know that I ever want that to be the science part. I like that. I think that judgment. When I listen to Dan Loeb on a panel take something apart, it's fun. It's an artistic, creative way. And I would have never made those two connections. That's really clever. Same as I use the analogy in tennis, where you go to the U.S. Open, you see him hit a shot you didn't know was physically possible. It's like, that's pretty cool. So that's the art part in my mind. That's that experience, that judgment. When you go pitch something to Mario and he pulls it apart quickly. Michael Price spoke last week at Gabelli Business School, and these guys just think differently. That's the art. That's that experience, that implicit filtering. The science part, I think, is much more, we know how markets operate. We know how competitive advantage works. We know what risk, really, how to think about risk, how to mitigate risk. That's, I think, we've done a lot of science. Now, I've talked to Michael Movison a lot about these things, and his theory, or at least one of many, he has a lot of very clever ideas, but one of the things he says is that the more we know, the more science pushes into the art. Some of the art is just, we've not articulated it well from a science perspective. I suspect that line will never get close. We'll push it, but what you needed, when Buffett started, Buffett would tell you the same thing. When he started, it was, compared to now, a shooting fish in a barrel. You have to have a much more sophisticated, nuanced way of looking at business than you did in the 50s. I think that's true. That, to me, is that science line pushing into the art world.